try blinking very quickly. How many times do you think you can do it in 1 second? Determine 2 or 3 times. Pretty quick, right? That's nothing for a hummingbird. Hummingbirds can flap their wings up to 100 times in a second. This makes them legendary acrobats in the air and at the same time one of the fastest birds in the animal kingdom. Nobody but them can fly in place and even backward. No bird is smaller or lighter, no heart beats faster, and no vertebrate rushes faster. Relative to its body size, hummingbirds are the absolute high flyers, and so inventive that they have evolved millions of years, conquered all of America. Between southern Alaska and Tierra del Fuego, these shimmering birds soar through the seas of flowers. However, most of the approximately 340 hummingbird species love it tropical. Gems in the tropical fairy forest. In the light of the sun, the plumage of the hummingbird shimmers mysteriously colorful, sometimes red, sometimes green, depending on how the rays fall on it. Hummingbirds are also known as flying gems. The sparkling play of colors is due to the special structure of their feathers. Due to air pockets, the feathers are of different thicknesses and therefore refract the sunlight in different ways. The unusual appearance of the hummingbirds stimulated the imagination of researchers early on. Since the time of the first scientific descriptions, hummingbird species have had fairy tale additions to their names such as fairy, elf, or nymph. That almost makes the little birds a little magical, doesn't it? The art of flight of the hummingbird. Did you know that hummingbirds have a unique way of flying? They can move backward and sideways in flight, hover in place, and even fly upside down. This agility comes about through a special flight technique. The hummingbird flaps its wings in a figure of 8, so to speak, instead of swinging them up and down like other birds. The lift can thus be controlled in any direction, similar to a helicopter. This flight technique is one of the reasons for the breakneck speed of the hummingbird. When a male wants to impress a female, he will dive so fast that he is almost invisible to the naked eye. Despite their cute appearance, hummingbirds' lead lives in the extreme. They buzz from blossom to blossom in the rainforest without having to land extra. As you can imagine, this also makes flying quite energy-consuming for hummingbirds. Their hearts have to beat up to 1,200 times a minute during flight, and they have to eat enough food to eat about twice their own body weight. Could you imagine having to eat about 60 kilograms of glucose every day just to survive? World record in being small. The name says it all. B-elf is the name of the largest lightweight in the entire bird world. This tiny hummingbird weighs only 2 grams, is 6 centimeters, about as short as our little finger, and lays eggs the size of peas. The smallest birds on Earth are at home on the Caribbean island of Cuba. The name giant hummingbird, which inhabits the Andes in Peru and Chile, belies its size, although it is the giant of the family. It is only 25 centimeters long and weighs just as much as a standard letter, 20 grams. Invisible wing beat. 40 to 80 wing beats per second. That too is a world record for birds, and the fastest are the little hummingbirds. We can only unravel this peak performance with a camera. The wings rotate in the shoulder joint and remain rigidly spread when swinging up and down. Other birds fold their wings together during the upward movement. Due to their unique flight style, the hummingbirds can not only stay in one spot to quietly suck nectar from the flower. They also lie on their sides or on their backs if the inflorescence so desires. And without reverse gear, many a hummingbird could never pull its beak out of the flower. Beak and flower, the perfect pair. Well over half of all plants in America benefit from hummingbirds. The birds pollinate the flowers and are rewarded with nectar. This community, which is also called symbiosis, has become more and more refined over the course of many millions of years. The sword-billed hummingbird has conquered two plants exclusively in its Andean homeland at 10 centimeters. Its beak is almost as long as its body, another record, and with it, it can sip the nectar without any problems, sucking the 20-centimeter-long calyx of the angel's trumpet and the tubular flowers of the passion flower. The eagle-billed hummingbird does not have to share the sap of the heliconia with anyone. Only its curved beak fits perfectly into the curved flower. No matter how long and shaped their beak is, hummingbirds have a long, forked tongue that they use to suck up nectar like a straw. Speed rush. Hummingbirds are not only the most agile but also the fastest vertebrates in the world in relation to their body size. The Anna hummingbirds, which are only 10 centimeters small, are said to lie down 98 kilometers per hour during their courtship swoop, that is 385 body lengths per second. A peregrine falcon can only reach 200 body lengths. Nectar as fuel. Life at high speed takes a lot of strength and energy. This is why hummingbirds need more oxygen than any other vertebrate. Their heart beats 400 times a minute when they are sitting. When flying, it happens 1,200 times, that's 20 heartbeats per second. In order not to starve during all the exertion, hummingbirds have to drink nectar every 15 minutes, a lot more per day than they weigh themselves. They also need protein to build muscle and feathers, which is why they peck the insects from the flowers. To conserve energy, hummingbirds remember each calyx they've emptied, quite a feat for such a tiny brain. Sleep and breed on the back burner. Because they don't eat at night and when it's cold, hummingbirds fall into a kind of hibernation. The heart only beats 40 times a minute instead of 400, so they only use 1/100th of the energy. In the morning, they warm up by shaking for half an hour. Color games. This is how the plants trick. Red and orange blossoms, every hummingbird flies to them. In this way, the plants attract their pollinators and give the small birds an advantage over bees, which perceive red tones as gray or black. This is how the birds deceive. Shimmering metallic colors are the trademark of hummingbirds. They are caused by air pockets in the feathers, which break and reflect the sunlight. How much and whether the plumage shimmers depends on the angle of incidence of the sun's rays. And the hummingbirds can cleverly influence this with their movements, to shine in front of females or to warn predators, or to make themselves invisible to predators such as snakes, birds of prey and cats. The hummingbirds and the flowers. A hummingbird feasts on the nectar of flowers, but what benefit do plants actually get from it? In nature, all living things are connected and dependent on each other in some way, including the hummingbird and the flowers. When the hummingbird sucks the nectar from the flowers with its long beak, pollen sticks to it. If it then flies to the next flower, it transfers the pollen as it eats and the flower is fertilized, which means the plant can form seeds and reproduce. So not only are hummingbirds cute, but they also have an important job as pollinators. If you liked this video, check out our website. The link is in the description of this video. Otherwise, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.